done in the Olympics, because karate is still looked at and has been so long as a martial art, and just now is becoming a sport as far as the Olympics. And so I think that it's had time to mature more so than maybe judo had, because judo was hardly even active until the 60s, and then it got into the Olympics, in the 80s. So I'm not sure exactly what years it were, but 64, I think they had the Olympics started with judo. So it's been a sport for a long time, but it didn't have as long a time to spread across the world as a martial art as much as it had as a sport. Karate has, for example, has spread across the world more as a martial art, and now it has become a sport as well. So it's kind of reverse of judo. I think that the growth is excellent. I'm excited to be part of it.
Okay. For example, the family races is the foundation of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And what do you think about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? They only work in the ground and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in general.
Are you talking about Jiu-Jitsu in family units, with a family being involved, like the mother and father and the children being involved in Jiu-Jitsu in the school
Brazilian
environment?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, I wasn't sure if you were talking about judo and jiu-jitsu as being related to martial arts, which they are, but you're talking about more the family involvement in martial arts and jiu-jitsu, whatever. I think that it's excellent.
What is your opinion about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Oh,
Brazilian.
Was that the
Yes.
question? Okay, I'm sorry. I
Don't worry.
misunderstood.
Brazil,
I think
from
it's important for the
Brazil.
family to be involved in martial arts with the children. That's certainly important. My response about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has become a very popular sport. It is not very relative or realistic for self-defense. If you and if I'm a karateka and you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, and I'm going to use sport rules against you, and that means I have to wear gloves and pads and everything else, and I'm going to do this while you're trying to tackle me, you're probably going to tackle me. And you're going to go on top of me and put me in a hold. But if I'm using martial art karate, where I can strike and break your nose or do some serious damage, then maybe you're not going to be so successful. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a sport, is very popular. In the United States, every high school, every college, university has got a wrestling program, and now they're picking up, and they're in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So there's a lot of grapplers that like to wrestle. And the very first night that you go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, you can get out on the mat and you can wrestle, you can grapple, you can BJJ, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what they've done is they take wrestling, they add locks and chokes, and they put on gi and they call it Jiu-Jitsu. But it's only one part of Jiu-Jitsu, it's just the grappling side. And, the rank requirements is, you have to learn this hold, this escape, this lock, this choke, but I mean, it's a small part of Jiu-Jitsu. There's no striking to speak of. There's no throws. You watch a contest. The guys are down, squatting down with their heads low, trying to wrestle. It doesn't look much like anything except wrestling, except you're wearing a gi, or maybe you're in a non-gi competition where they look exactly like wrestlers. So I think it's popular for people that like that, but I think it's a long ways from martial arts.
It's only a sport.
It's more of a sport than anything. But they've added belts and made rank requirements.
30 segundos.
And they made something into something that's similar to a martial art. But it's popular because it's wrestling, and people love to wrestle. Kids like to wrestle on the floor. The first, when they're with their brothers and sisters. Everybody learns to grapple long before they learn how to punch or kick. And there's no kata. It's very freestyle. It's very loose, and you can do it the first night. You go to a judo class. If it's a real judo class, you have to learn how to break the fall. If you're in a karate class, you have to learn how to kick.
Okay. But the next question is, what do you think about the Kyuso? About the vital points and hitting the...
Oh, about the jiu-jitsu competition? The sport jiu-jitsu?
The Kyuso. The vital points, the hitting vital points.
Are we talking about karate?
In general.
Or just striking competition? Oh, well, I think with with proper training, it's a good program. Now, the International Jiu-Jitsu Federation has competition. Jiu-Jitsu competition, they call it Jiu-Jitsu fighting or Jiu-Jitsu kumite. It starts out striking, kicking, punching like a judo match, like a karate match. And then once you make contact, kicking and punching stops. then it's more like a judo match. That type of competition has been going on now for quite some time, maybe the last 15, 20 years, and they have an international federation for that. I have been very active with that in the past, and I think it's excellent competition. The problem is that a lot of schools really don't train the full striking, kicking, punching, striking, and throwing, and grappling. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does grappling only. The other schools, some do self-defense, and a few schools are doing sport Jiu-Jitsu where they do all three. So it's still small compared to the total number of traditional Jiu-Jitsu. In our federation, United States Jiu-Jitsu Federation, majority of our schools are traditional Jiu-Jitsu, focused on self-defense and developing the martial arts philosophies and values and things. Competition is still very small in the USA. In Europe, the Jiu-Jitsu federations that are tied in with the sport, they have government funding. They have, some of them are tied in with the Olympic organizations. For example, France, Judo Federation also has sport Jiu-Jitsu inside it. Spain, the Spanish World Judo Federation also includes Jiu-Jitsu, and they compete in the competition under the International Federation. So it's very well organized in Europe. It's still small in USA, and Brazil, and USA is primarily focused on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the sport of grappling. So.
Okay. When do you hit in the nerve or in vital points, the... Okay.
Well, I mean, as far as the striking for points,
the Kyuso is
well, I think
dangerous.
I think that unless they wear some sort of pads, it's dangerous. The Jiu-Jitsu competition that has the striking, they wear gloves where they're free for gripping, but they have padding across here, and so striking is limited to the pads. Now, if you hit someone and cause bleeding, it's grounds for disqualification. So you have to be very careful. Striking the body is a lot safer because it can take a blow as opposed to the nose or face. And so the minute you start punching towards the head, you're a good chance of being disqualified. I personally don't like boxing. I think boxing is too brutal. I think MMA is very brutal. UFC is very brutal. I don't think it has anything to do with martial arts. I'm a martial artist, so I focus on another part of it. Combat sports, most of them don't have a great reputation right now because there still has a lot of safety problems. But the Jiu-Jitsu competition, it has possibilities because it has the padding and it limits the striking to only before contact's made, and then it becomes more like a judo match with the throwing, grappling, holding, and so forth, choking. So I think the striking is good, but it has to be under good rules and regulations.
About real situation, for example, I don't know, a few years ago, the Pantachi system, you know the Pantachi? The Kyuso system, the vital points, is more popular. Was popular in USA and the army and the. No?
Well, they had some jiu-jitsu systems where they were saying, they were hitting certain spots and it would knock somebody out and that kind of thing. I think that had its interest. I don't think it's as popular now as it was. I personally don't know any schools that are doing the knockout type of training. There's some out there, but they're very small, very limited number. I'm not involved with that, so I really don't have much opinion really.
Well, the next is the finish. What advice would you give to the practitioner or judo jiu-jitsu?
What advice? Well, I think start young, but not too young, because I think these schools that have very small children, maybe they're bringing young people in and teaching them some tumbling skills and some fun, throwing punches and kicks and stuff and rolling around the mat, but they really aren't mentally mature enough to really take on the knowledge and the responsibility that comes with it until they're older. I personally didn't start until I was 13. I thought that was a good age to start. Some people at 13 are not mature enough to really take it on seriously. I hate to see someone start out at 5 and then when they're 15 they get a black belt or a brown belt. Oh, I've done what I want to do and they're gone. I'm much more interested in seeing someone get started at the right age and make it a lifetime activity. I think that makes more sense, and that's just my own personal observations.
Okay, so this is finished. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And I look forward to coming back and spending more time here in Spain. Thank
I
you.
will see you.
Good to hear. Okay. All right.